welcome to Agric today on ARSN Television, Mabushi, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin. Today on Agric today, we shall be taking a look at the reaction of non-governmental organizations to genetically modified cowpea. Before we go into the reaction, let's take a look at what genetically modified cowpea is. Genetically modified or GM foods are made by inserting genes of other species into their DNA. While this kind of genetics modification is used for both plants and animals, it is more commonly found in plants rather than in animals. Foods that are often modified include corn and soybeans. GMOs can be turned into products like cornstarch, corn syrup, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, or granulate sugar. Genetically modified cotton can be used in textiles, and scientists can change organisms to be used in medications like human insulin as well. According to the National Biotechnology Development Agency of Nigeria, GMO foods are as healthful and safe to eat as their non-GMO counterparts. Some GMO plants have actually been modified to improve their nutritional value. An example is GMO soybean with healthier oils that can be used to replace oils that contain trans fats. Advantages of GMO foods include added nutrients, fewer pesticides, and cheaper prices. Disadvantages of GMO food can be allergic reactions or increased antibiotics resistance. According to the Center for Food Safety, the disadvantages of GMO are toxicity, allergic reactions, antibiotics resistance, immunosuppression, cancer, loss of nutrients, and inherently unstable. Despite all of these disadvantages, GMO foods still prove to be the answer to food security and sustainability in the Western world. You are still on to Agric today on ARSN TV. Let's take the reaction of a non-governmental organization that is called on the Nigerian government, policymakers, and financial banks to work out urgent ways to enhance increased cultivation of teller maize and BT cowpea, both genetically modified GM foods, for Nigeria's national food security and good health of the population. Convener of the Food Avails Nigeria under the auspices of Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, Barrister Frank Tete made the call during a press briefing in Abuja. Frank Tete said the government should dispel false and unfounded narratives driven by uninformed and economically jobbing groups about genetically modified GM foods, which are products of biotechnology.
On a very sad note, by reason of an event that took place somewhere at the Federal Ministry of Justice recently, where a lot of ignorance was displayed with regards to the existence of genetic modified foods in Nigeria, which for us at the Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights through our program Food Avail are quite excited that Nigeria has made much progress in the introduction of the genetic modified foods being the products of biotechnology. So this press briefing essentially is to bring attention to the much progress Nigeria has made, and also to express our concern as a citizens organization that it is important and it's time we made much effort to harness the benefits of biotechnology in Nigeria, especially with the recently licensed BT Cowpea, even though it's not so recent since 2018. When I say BT Cowpea, that is beans, and then the recently licensed Teller maize, which we believe that will transform the agricultural landscape of Nigeria and enhance food security for the citizens of Nigeria. That's our major concern, and we are worried that by the day, ignoramuses and economic jobbers who have no scintilla of evidence or the least of knowledge concerning the much effort this world has advanced in terms of biotechnology, and our great country has also invested, will now take the center stage to dismiss, out of their own laziness, out of their own selfish pursuit for economic gain and benefit from the trade war between those who produce insecticides and those who are doing serious research to bring up genetic modified foods that are able to withstand disease, withstand pests, withstand environmental hazards like drought. We now want to dismiss that kind of huge efforts. That is a sad commentary. Therefore, I will start to read briefly my press statement and welcome comments, questions. Nigeria's journey in the application of the principles of biotechnology has been a long way coming. And we, as an organization, that is the Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, through its program Food Avail Nigeria, and the people are glad that we are not only witnessing the revolution, the science revolution in the areas of food, medicine, and environmental sustainability, but we have also become the beneficiaries of the visionary leadership this country has had at a time in this particular area of biotechnology, by harnessing the benefits of biotechnology. And this has made it to I'm talking about our country, to put in place a legal environment that places a premium on the safe application of modern biotechnology techniques and genetic engineering. That the Nigerian government, as far back as 1987, has put legislation in place to encourage the application of biotechnology and genetic engineering as instruments of socio-economic development. Many people do not know, and they think that it's a thing of yesterday, that processes that include the fermentation of beer is actually the process of biotechnology. Taking living organisms from another living organism and introducing it to another for the purpose, for getting a desired purpose, is actually, that's what the simplified explanation of biotechnology is. Making of beer, making of other things, those are traditional forms of biotechnology. However, in the National Center for Genetic Resource and Biotechnology Act of 1987 is a law of Nigerian law. So far back as 1987, Nigeria has begun research and development in the area of genetic engineering and biotechnology, because the leaders at that time saw the potential benefits of what biotechnology can do to our economy. It's not a thing that started yesterday, and so many people approach it with this fear-mongering, especially those seeking attention. But I'm particular about the economic jobbers, those who have taken the side to get paid by companies who are being taken off the market with the introduction of smart crops that are tailored to withstand either pests or pest invasion or diseases or environmental challenges. Nothing excites me more in terms of recent history in the application of biotechnology, when vaccines that could have taken maybe 10, 20, 30 years to be developed took months to be developed in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis. That is one of the major benefits of biotechnology when it comes to, applying the knowledge of the science of gene, especially with the mapping of the human genome, and applying the same in the understanding of diseases. As far back as 1987, Nigeria has already been in progress. And further, in 1993, the Nigerian government established another law, and it is the Shared Science and Technology Complex Act. Section 5 of that act provides for an advanced laboratory for pure and applied research in biotechnology and genetic engineering. That's in 1993. I know many of us look down on our country, we talk down on our country because of the present challenges, the various challenges it has had. This country is filled with a lot of persons who have foresight, whether in leadership, whether in the public service, whether in private business. Now, it will interest you that as far back as those years, we were already as a country having the foresight that we wouldn't leave the knowledge of biotechnology for the rest of the world to explore and exploit alone. But we as a country also laid a serious legal framework for biotechnology to be applied in our country. It's very important that as people who are exposed, who are educated, we don't allow charlatans and persons who are ignorant. I often, in my researches, refer to them as lazy, because it's easy to be sensational in our country because of the bandwagon effect that follows. Simply just raise alarm, genetic, biotechnology, whatever, it's wrong, it's a tool of the devil, it's another way the white man wants to kill people, it's another way Bill Gates wants to enslave Africa. Imagine that. The Bill Gates, well, if Bill Gates, I'm not an apologist of Bill Gates, but the man whose ambition in life was to make personal computer available to every individual, suddenly has now become a servant of the devil simply because he has invested in the science of biotechnology. Our country started investment long before Bill Gates. As far back as, it did not only invest, it enacted laws and then got scholars, sent them abroad, trained them, and you need to know the progress we've made in the various research institutes that we've had, whether in root crops and in grains and all of that. So let us also remind ourselves that we are meant to be a great country. Now, I'll go quickly to also remind us that, and this is an unfortunate one, that in the year 2000, the American Congress enacted a law referred to the African Growth and Opportunity Act in 2000. It was a very interesting law which removed duties, tax, and export duties, import duties on over 1,800 agricultural products coming from Africa to the United States. And the United States Congress encouraged African countries, and Nigeria is part of them, to ensure that they developed agricultural products in cautioning that labeling requirements to allow consumers to make choices regarding biotechnology products, and that there should be no discrimination against biotechnology products coming from Africa. So in 2000, the American Congress had contemplated that African countries could grow GM foods that could be exported to the United States. Unfortunately, that law was enacted in the year 2000. It was meant to last for 25 years. That law was also gazetted in Nigeria because I remember at that time Obasanjo was very excited about it. Now, I'll go quickly by saying that considering the great potentials and economic attractions of biotechnology for national development, it became necessary to put together a regulatory framework. And therefore, in 2015, Nigeria fully enacted the National Biosafety Management Agency Act to regulate the practice of genetic engineering, that is, biotechnology. In Nigeria, that major milestone put Nigeria on the world map of ensuring safety in the application of modern biotechnology while harnessing its numerous benefits.
He stressed the organization's stand and maintained its support for the Nigerian government, which began its genetically modified research program since 1987. He further goes to explain that the organization maintains its support for the National Biosafety Management Agency, NABDA, as a national authority on all issues of biosafety. He says if the NABDA says GM foods are safe for human consumption, then they are indeed safe without any adverse effects to human, animals, and the environment.
The United Nations Convention on Biodiversity, it also signed and ratified in 2003 the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. Our country, and therefore in Section 1, Subsection 2 of the NBMA Act, that's the National Biosafety Management Act, declares that the agency shall be the national authority on biosafety in Nigeria. It is this legal regime of biosafety that becomes the strongest possible foundation upon which products of biotechnology, like GM foods, can be safely developed, tested, licensed, and safely consumed by humans without any adverse effect on human beings, animals, and the environment. The idea is simple. If the NBMA says it's safe, it's final, according to law. Therefore, what does the NBMA do? The agency is responsible for all approvals, licensing, withdrawals, and enforcement of standards and guidelines generally on all related matters of biosafety, biosecurity, and all biotechnology products, especially GM foods, by applying, and this must interest you, risk assessment procedures and ensuring the highest safety standards. Is that under the International Covenant on Economic and Socio-Economic Rights, for which we established, pursuant to which we established the Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, to which Nigeria ratified in 1993, provides that every Nigerian citizen has a right to benefit from scientific and cultural progress. You cannot deny my beloved citizens, myself, from the progress of science across the world, all in the name of unfounded fears, mysteries, and mythology, as if one prophet told you that something is wrong when you have never been in the four walls of a laboratory to even test whether this product has any adverse effect or not. We're talking about faculties of professors across the world. We're talking about tens and scores of products that have passed through testings, and over the years, particularly from the 90s, when the GM foods were being consumed, started to be consumed in the US. And as we speak to date, it is a good thing that we all have access to the internet. There is no scintilla of evidence proving that they're associating GM food with any risk. Therefore, that right to scientific progress, also that covenant on economic, social, and cultural rights, also provides the right to food, the right to health, the right to education, the right to shelter. When we are out there shouting the right to shelter, the right to food, the right to education, the right to social security, everybody claps for us. But when we say, oh, the right to food entitles every Nigerian to be free from hunger, which is one of the Millennium Development Goals. And as an organization, we have considered it and very strongly and came to the conclusion that the application of biotechnology to agriculture will unleash progress and abundance together with prosperity, all in the name of food security for every Nigerian. And then realizing that even farmers are having troubles with seeds, because many a times we don't make that distinction between grains and seeds. Grains are meant to be consumed, while seeds are prepared to be planted for maximum harvest. Seeds have been a problem. Healthy seeds have been a problem for our farmers. And one of the principal cereals that guarantees health in this country is beans, scientifically or formerly known as cowpea. Its farmers are suffering greatly because of the activity of the pest, the maruca pest, it's more or less like a stem borer that destroys the harvest of beans. Now, combine all of that with the various socioeconomic problems and insecurity issues, we're headed for a national crisis. That is a simple application of realizing that that insect that destroys the beans cannot survive on impact with a certain bacteria that lives on the soil. Our local scientists should be commended for extracting that particular element, that gene of interest, and inserting it, transferring it, because this is what we call genetic modification. Let's break it down so that it doesn't continue to look as if it's mysterious. Inserting it with that of cowpea so that when the pest gets in touch with it, it dies. Therefore, instead of continually spraying the beans 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 times before harvest with a genetically modified beans, or known as BT cowpea, you probably won't spray at all. And if you don't spray, what happens? You have a healthier environment, a healthier soil, free from herbicides and insecticides. So which one is better? Yet you tell me that, oh, without evidence, BT cowpea is bad. No, it cannot be. Our worry as a citizens group is that we are not maximizing enough the benefits of biotechnology. Recently, the commercialization of telomeres was announced. It also meant that we have made more progress. Because in the case of telomeres, it is not only insect resistant, it is drought resistant. And it's also nutritious. And then when we mention the issue of nutrition, I like citing the example to my friends of what happened in Philippines. And that's why we need to look more closely on how to harness the benefits of biotechnology. In Philippines, the staple food, like we have in many parts of our country, is rice. And it was discovered that the near total lack of vitamin A in the staple foods in that area was causing blindness, both at infant level, at youth level, and at old age. And it was taught by scientists, by researchers, that if carrot that is rich in vitamin A, if the beta-carotene that enriches carrot with vitamin A can be extracted and infused into the staple of the staple rice that is basically consumed in the Philippines, it will improve the situation. And there it went. When the breakthrough of golden rice came. However, with the extraction of beta-carotene, which accounts for the color of carrot, the orange color of carrot, being introduced to rice, it became golden in yellowish and then golden in color, giving the name golden rice. And then, of course, there are people who will say, wow, how did rice turn from white to yellow? Forgetting the purpose, forgetting the processes it has gone through, and the ultimate, value.
The convener, however, said the group will continue the campaign for greater application of safe modern biotechnology in agriculture to guarantee the right to food and to end hunger in Nigeria. That's the size of our package on Agric today. Until next week, I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. Thank you for watching.